Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Unite Inside, and we help people unite with all the parts inside of them. And in this video, I have a very specific video that I want to make because it is crucial for your healing process. So in this video, I want to explain to you, why are you not healing? What's happening? What is the issue? What is the underneath root cause of the fact that you are still not able to heal? I want to unpack the topic of how to truly transform negative emotion. How to truly, when you know you have trauma, you know you've been traumatized in your life, you know you have issues, you know you have maybe low self-esteem or lack of confidence, you have a lot of insecurities, you have a problem standing up for yourself, or maybe you are too aggressive. You know that there is something about you, like anxiety, depression, um, maybe even it can even be that you are sure, you are like very aware of a certain very traumatic event that happened to you when you were a kid, and you know that you have trauma when it comes to that, and you still experience the symptoms of that trauma, but you don't know how to transform that trauma. You keep getting triggered. You keep feeling like you have to defend yourself. You keep feeling like you have to um, suffer and experience a lot of pain. And maybe you have done your best to heal that trauma. Maybe you've been watching a lot of videos. Maybe you've been reading self-help books. Maybe you've been trying really, really hard to rationalize in your mind and tell yourself that you're okay, you're gonna be okay. Maybe you tried affirmations. Maybe you tried to tell yourself you're good enough, but it didn't work. And why doesn't it work? It's because I want to tell you something very important about trauma. Trauma is simply unresolved emotion. And when you have unresolved emotion, you have to understand that there is this is an emotional part of you. It's not a logical, it's not a mental part of you. And a lot of people, the mistake that they make with healing is that they approach healing from a logical point of view. They think, oh, if I just tell myself a few times that I'm good enough, 3 times I'm good enough, I'm good enough, I'm good enough, that is going to help me feel good enough. Unfortunately, that's not true. That's not the case. A lot of people think if they read as many books as they can, that eventually they're going to end up healed. Not the way either. A lot of people think if they watch a lot of videos or anything like that, that's going to actually help them. If they educate themselves on their trauma, that might help on an awareness, mental level, to maybe feel a little better about your trauma, because you know where it came from and you know what truly happened to you. You have some understanding of it. But is it going to heal the trauma from within? Is it going to transform those pain, that pain that you were experiencing? Are you going to keep feeling the grief, the hate, the blame, the shame, the guilt, whatever it is? Is it really going to help in transforming that? Or are you going to keep getting triggered? Most people keep getting triggered, regardless of how many educations have they learned from other people that know about trauma. And so that's why in this video I want to tell you something important about your trauma, which is your trauma, you're experiencing it on an emotional level, which means that you cannot rationalize with it. This is a part of you that went through pain, that experienced trauma, experienced separation, experienced hurt, experienced heartbreak, and all of that. When a part of you experiences that, which is the inner child part of you, that part of you holds on to it because it did experience it. And the thing that we don't know about our trauma is that we literally did not just experience this once or twice. We've experienced it over and over and over and over. That's what makes it trauma. That's why as an adult you feel as though there is something wrong with me. I don't know why. I'm not normal. I'm not talking as much as people are talking. I'm not able to interact with people. I'm not able to belong. There is something happening. Yes, there is. You're afraid. You're absolutely traumatized. You are in survival mode. You're trying to protect yourself still. You have trust issues, all of that. It's because when you were a kid, these are patterns that our parents were involved in. They had a pattern of constantly breaking our hearts, of constantly breaking our trust, of constantly making us feel unheard and unseen and um, not acknowledged and all of that. You know what happens when someone constantly gets ignored? Like, imagine your little self and you were literally just a little kid, but you were getting ignored, getting talked down to, and experiencing criticism and all these really, really deep and like hard experiences. Like right now as an adult, if you experience criticism, it hurts, let alone if you were a little baby. You know how that will feel. That feels like getting teared apart. And so you have to understand trauma is heavy and it's not easy to unpack it. It's something that a lot of human beings, it's their worst fear. So you can't just expect yourself to unpack this trauma through watching a few videos, or through reading a few books, or especially through just telling yourself, oh, you're okay, you're fine, I am happy, whatever affirmations you're telling yourself, I am healed. That's not how it works. You need to take a deeper approach. You need to take a deeper approach to this. Trauma is very heavy. It is your deepest secrets. It is your shadow side that you've been hiding from yourself your whole life. Like I said, you have to be ready and brave and open for this type of process. And now we can talk about how to actually transform negative emotion and how does it actually work. I'm going to split it up for you now. You have to approach it on an emotional level, not on a mental level. You can't rationalize with any part of you. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because once a part of you is experiencing pain, you have to know that that part of you has a new perspective now about life. She sees life, or he sees life differently. These parts of you see life differently from the point of pain that they've experienced. This is a fragmented part of you. Pain is a fragmented part of us. And that fragmented part becomes an ego. And that ego becomes its own entity inside of us. You have to understand. That's something that a lot of people don't understand, is that we are not one self. We are a lot of selves. We are multiple. And we have a lot of parts of us. When we came into this world, we were whole. But when we experienced trauma, a part of us started holding a different perspective, and then another one started holding a different perspective according to that trauma. You have a part of you that wants to be heard, and then you have a part of you that doesn't want to be heard anymore because it experienced pain. And then you have a part of you that's ashamed of its own voice. There's a lot of parts here. You have to learn how to work with them and how to actually connect with them. That's how to transform negative emotion. The first step to doing this is to actually have the capacity to connect with yourself. It's like any relationship that you try to approach. The relationship with yourself is also important, and you are also in a relationship with yourself. And so how do you do this? You have to learn the art of connecting with yourself. You can only do this through your presence. When you're present with yourself, when you're able to become aware of a certain emotion within you, when you're able to become fully with that emotion, to be with that sensation without trying to change it. Here's the important part. If you truly want to create change and a healed state within yourself after years and years of trauma, what you have to know how to do is to approach these parts of you in a way where they feel safe and open up, where you can get through to them, you know? Because they're actually, like I said, it's like an entity inside of you. You have to understand who you actually are. You are the awareness, you are the consciousness, you are the holder of yourself, of all these parts of you. You are the one that is present and holding all these parts and basically leading all these parts. You're supposed to lead them. And so who you actually are, your nature is love, your nature is compassion, your nature is joy, your nature is a high frequency. But when you come into this world and you experience pain, these parts of you fragment to create an ego. But that's not who you are. But it is still a part of you. And so you can't deny it, you can't suppress it, you can't push it away. It's like a loved one. Imagine that you have someone that you really love. You're not gonna only love them when they're happy, you're also gonna love them and give them support when they're sad and when they're experiencing pain.